Environmental issues are increasingly important. I mean, there are some countries where it's actually hard to recruit people because it's hard to breathe in some of the big cities. You don't want to raise your kids. No job is so important that it's okay if your children have asthma and they can't breathe. And so, interestingly enough, if you want the best talent today, you have to pay attention to quality of life issues and making sure that people can have clean air and clean water. And they're not being exposed to pollution that may cause cancer, and things like that. So those are all policies that end up making a difference in retaining talent in any country. In any city, in any community. Good. All right. Okay, well, we got these young ladies. They got a flag. So since you brought a flag, I'm very impressed with your planning. Question: Hi, my name is Christina, and I'm with my colleague and some of our other colleagues here. And we work for an American anti-human trafficking NGO called Pacific Links Foundation. So we fight against human trafficking here in Vietnam. With Vietnam emerging as an important player in the TPP. Many companies will start to shift their production in factories to Vietnam, which will create a new mobile workforce. With that comes the unfortunate opportunity for human traffickers and labor brokers to take advantage of these workers. Such as creating false promises or tricking them or even coercing them into moving across borders. and therefore forcing them into a situation of being trafficked. What is the United States federal government doing to prevent human trafficking in the global supply chain? Question: before you answer, can I ask you a question? President Obama, I'm sorry, I didn't know question, because we had the same. President Obama, you're a tag team, I got you. Question: thank you. Before I came here I asked many whenever I met someone also asked what do you want to ask if you can meet President? And a lot of questions and a lot of comments. And for now, I forgot everything, but this remind me about Kenya friend and he said if I see you see if he would come to Kenya, and he was pretty excited. And he said if you could ask please Obama about human trafficking prevents strategy. Thank you. President Obama, all right. Well, let me see. You lost my train of thought. And we've actually begun making progress in improved enforcement, in improved law enforcement coordination. NGOs have been very helpful as partners with us in identifying what are some of the paths where people are being exploited. With respect to TPP, it's precisely because we put such an emphasis on this. That we actually have provisions in TPP designed to prevent human trafficking. And it's actually given us leverage to work with some countries to say, if you want to be part of TPP, you have to have a better system in place to prevent human trafficking. including some of these cross-border migrant workers' situations. So when I was in Malaysia, for example, meeting with Prime Minister Najib, one of the most important topics as we were negotiating TPP was how could we do more work in order to protect people who are being brought in, whether it's working at the palm oil plants or what have. You saw that there was better tracking, better enforcement, better protections for people. And that's in the actual agreement. Now, I think that an agreement on paper is never enough. So there have to be systems in place to monitor what's taking place. And these human traffickers are very clever. They're like drug traffickers. If you cut off one path, then try to take another path, and they're always looking to exploit people who are desperate. So this is why this can't just be a government initiative or a law enforcement initiative. It has to be something where we're partnering with NGOs, human rights organizations. We have to be very nimble in how we adapt to changing circumstances. So that we're constantly shutting down some of these pathways. The last thing I'll say, though, is one of the best ways for us to reduce human trafficking. Is to provide more opportunity for people, particularly in rural areas through Southeast Asia. And if we can give young people in villages a chance to make a living and get an education. And if we particularly focus on women and girls, because a lot of human trafficking results from the fact that girls are not given the same educational opportunities as boys, and as a consequence, they find themselves in very desperate situations, the more we can change those dynamics, that will also reduce the ability of people to exploit people who have no hope. Or think that they have to leave their village. And are vulnerable then to claims that if you just come with us you're going to be able to get a great job and everything is going to be okay. And then, by the time they get there, they suddenly find themselves trapped in a very bad situation. Congratulations on the good work you're doing. I'm very proud of you. Thank you. Alright, how much more time we got? We only got time for one more question? Alright, I'll take two more questions. But it's a guy's turn first. I'm going to call on this guy just because I kind of like the yellow in his hair there. I like the style. There you go. Question, thank you. I'm a filmmaker, so I'm very interested in personal stories. And you said before, when you are young you're like fooling around. And I read on internet, I'm not sure if it's true or not, that you also like smoking weed and things like that. President Obama, I don't know if that's true. Question, I wonder what makes you from that guy become a guy who care about the society. Because a lot of, I think many young Vietnamese people, they still love like fooling around and they don't really care about the society. But there must be something that makes you become this person. Thank you. President Obama, well, It's a good question. I wrote a book about this called, Dreams from My Father. I think it was translated into Vietnamese, but I don't know if it's still in bookstores near you. You know, you never know exactly why something inside you clicks and you decide to take a different path. I think, for me, when I was young because I didn't know my father. And I didn't grow up with him in the house my grandparents and my mother raised me. And they were very loving and very generous. But I think I rebelled in part because I felt that something was missing. And as I got older I realized that instead of worrying about the father who wasn't there, I should worry more about what can I do, and take more responsibility for my own life. And that led me to start studying more, and it led me to start thinking about social issues more. I grew up. And why it took me until I was 19 or 20, where some other people like many of you have always. Been very organized like this young lady, I'll bet she's always been very focused, you don't know why. But I think your point about stories is good. One of the things that I've learned about being a leader is sometimes we think people are motivated only by money. Or they're only motivated by power, or these very concrete incentives. But people are also inspired by stories. The stories they tell themselves about what's important and about their lives and about their country and about their communities. And I think if you want to in whatever field you're in, whether it's business or politics or nonprofit work, It's worthwhile to listen to other people and ask them questions about the stories that are important to them, because oftentimes you'll find their motivations. And when we come together to do important things, it's usually because we told a good story about why we should be working together. You think about the United States of America. We have a really good story called the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. That we're endowed with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's a wonderful story. There's no when the Declaration was made, there really was not United States. It was just a good story that they were telling about what could be. And then people were attracted to that story. And it led to independence, and it led to immigrants from around the world who wanted that vision. For themselves it led Ho Chi Minh to adapt it when Vietnam was trying to declare independence. It inspired movements around the world. So, yes, the stories we tell each other are very, very important. And good luck on making your movies. Don't believe everything you read on the internet, though. Okay, last question. This young lady, she stood up and she's like I couldn't say no to her. She had her hand up. I thought she was going to hit me if I didn't call on her. I'm teasing.